Hello, and thank you for joining us today for Introducing Friends. Today's episode of Introducing Friends is Helsreach, a Warhammer 40K story. Leading the discussions will be our chapter master, George, aka Wulfboi.
Hello, hello.
Accompanying him will be our forge master, James, aka Griever.
Yay!
Accompanying him will be our librarian, Chelsea, aka Starrgal. Hello, everybody.
And we're back. We're back.
And we've got titles this time.
Yep. It's a nice little thing that we decided to attach because honestly it fits.
We got promotions.
We got promotions.
Yeah. That we did. And we got stories for that.
Yeah. And it'll be fine. You guys will know about them soon enough. I'm sure.
At some point. Well, anyway. We are back. We are going to be taking a dive into more 40k lore, and we're going to be going back to Helsreach, a project that we've been putting off for some reason.
Because other things came up, I'm assuming.
Well, true. Yeah, that is 100% accurate. But we're back. We're going to do Helsreach, and we're going to be seeing some more of the golden magic that Richard Boylan made with Dembski-Bowden's wonderful novel, which I have the pleasure of reading myself. So
yes.
Now.
And I believe it was said that this is the best. What was the phrasing?
Adaptation?
The author actually likes Helsreach, like this series.
Yeah, there was an article on his website where basically he said that after watching parts 1, 2, and 3, he essentially said that for the first time he could actually watch something and listen to the audio of his own book being read and not feel the need to just get up from the desk as though he's put off by it. He actually was enraptured by what he was seeing in the video.
Which is pretty cool and a great compliment to
Richard Boylan's work, yep.
Yeah.
What do you guys remember from the last time we went into this?
The orcs were invading it. He gave an epic speech that raised the hairs in the back of my neck.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to be watching immediately after that epic speech with part 8. So are you guys ready to dive in?
Yeah. Let's do this.
All right. In 3, 2, 1, go. There's that consistency.
There's only war.
There's one thing I definitely love about Helsreach. It's very uniform, and it's just lovely to watch.
I agree.
Oh, that's cool!
It's a nice little upgrade.
Oh, there's a little splash of color in there I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I have always believed there is something beautiful in the very first moments of a battle. Here are the moments of highest emotion. The fear of mortal men. The frustrated bloodlust and screaming overconfidence of mankind's enemies. In the moments when a battle is joined, the purity of the human species is first revealed to the foe.
Purity in the forms of wall guns.
Well, pure from the orcs, I guess, just means staying alive. Because the orcs don't really assimilate, they just murder.
True. Couldn't help but chuckle for a bit because the first thing that came to my mind, on a stroll in Armageddon, then explosions.
I mean, it's Armageddon. What else is there?
That's fair. I like how they are incorporating color into it now.
Mhm.
Although it's also feeling a little weird now that it's like, wait, Helsreach was black and white.
Mhm. All the way up
I
until
feel like
now.
it's very muted color though, so it still fits with what it was doing before.
I'm loving it. It's a great blend.
Oh, it is.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Also, I know this had nothing, absolutely zero to do with anything I'd said in the previous video, but I love for the fact that they took my idea of the whole, oh, with everything black and white, they should put just red in the eyes, you know, kind of like the whole throwback to Schindler's List thing and all.
Mm-hmm.
It did.
Yeah, if that's not a horrifying sight, I don't know what is.
Just an orc flying towards you. Oh, we now have a code brown situation. Which one's that? I just shit my pants.
We have a code brown. Oh god, we have several code brown.
Shit pants.
Yeah, full-blown diarrhea over here.
And I love that the jetpacks essentially just look like an Acme product, a rocket with wings.
They got them on discount from the Coyote.
But they're orcs, so it works, and I love it. It's so cool.
Oh.
The Coyote is watching this, just going,
Time is coming.
why couldn't I get it to work? He just smashed him in the face.
Yeah.
The sound of a chain blade.
I like that the chain blade, because it would be ridiculous, is a muted sound, and it fits the same volume as everything else. So you can still hear the music and all the other fighting involved. It doesn't just wipe out everything else.
Okay, if that's not a 300 inspired moment, I don't know what is.
That's beautiful.
Oof.
Ugh.
Yeah.
He knows, too.
So how's it going?
Well, I'm just waiting for... Honestly, I'm waiting for the moon to kill him, because that's a mercy kind of a thing.
No.
Let me put this right back for you.
I can't believe that it's actually Primus doing that.
What do you mean?
Well, it's Primus, the one that basically scoffed at the idea of humans actually being able to make a difference.
Oh, take it. Accept your character development.
Blade Master had a little heart.
I think when you're a Marine, it's easy to lose the heart, or at least shove it away where it won't hurt anymore.
That's one way of looking at it. But seeing actual color now, it's actually kind of disturbing.
That is a bleak picture. The real battle begins tomorrow.
I don't even
At
see
least
them. It's
we
just
will
dark.
not be bored. I believe
All I
they
see
will
is a
wait.
sea green, a black and a
They will
green.
wait
Yeah.
until they have overwhelming force with which to crush us. And they will strike
And
like a hammer.
unfortunately, it's...
I requested we withdraw all guard forces from the wasteland installations across all of southern Armageddon Secundus. The Colonel agreed in principle. What's worth guarding out there? Munitions. A great deal of munitions. To be used when the hive cities fall and need to be reclaimed. But that is not all. The desert vultures spoke of a curious legend. Something buried beneath the sands. A weapon.
If the weapon is Chernobyl, I don't know if it'll work.
Wait, the weapon is what?
Chernobyl.
I mean, desperation breeds desperation, I guess.
Honestly,
but
wouldn't that just work as a Exterminatus though?
essentially,
Would
A
that
very
even
small scale
wipe out the
Exterminatus.
orcs though?
it's been done.
Really? Nuclear bombs wipe out the orcs?
Well, yeah, but you would have to literally render the entire planet completely barren in the process.
Right.
So, but yeah. What are your thoughts on the episode itself, guys?
It was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of like how the Primus kind of just realized, oh wait, they actually did do something.
Mm-hmm. They actually put up a
The
better
humans
fight
can do
than I
something right.
expected.
Ha! Take that! I'm not useless after all. I'm great cannon fodder.
You say it like that.
That went darker than I meant it to. But
I'm assuming that was the case, because honestly, I wouldn't normally expect you to say that so, like, happily.
No.
Like, yeah, I'm cannon fodder. I'm great.
No. They have heart. They're good humans. Those poor guardsmen. They have no chance.
Well, the Armageddon Steel Legion is also a faction in the Astra Militarum that's respected for the fact that they have just really, really battle-hardened soldiers, but on top of that, they also have some of the best mech units. Well, mech in the sense like mechanized warfare for a lot of their tanks and such, and mobile platforms. So they earn their respect, and they earn a lot of their character from pretty much all the wars that were fought on Armageddon.
Okay.
So, and just the fact that Primus actually had that moment of realizing just how much heart these humans have, it's actually good for him to learn to not underestimate those that he's in service with.
I love character development. It's wonderful.
Yep. Okay, so any other questions that come up from all that we've seen?
Nope.
Not right now.
None that come to mind.
Okay.
I'm probably sure with, like, the oodles of notes that you're about to give us, I may have questions after that.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll go ahead and start blasting a few details and see where we go from here. Okay. So, first things first is the cinematic changes. All the way up until now, we've watched Helsreach. We've seen everything in black and white. And things of the details get blurred out because they look like pencil scratch, and it gets a little hazy. It's been suggested by many people in the comments that as we get closer and closer to the battle itself, the memory of Grimaldus recalling this entire battle and everything that's going on is becoming that much clearer and clearer to him because he's pretty much processing the fight of his life. Anything in between becomes a little fuzzy where he remembers that there are details, but he doesn't remember in such vivid, I was there kind of detail.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And that was suggested by folks in the comments. And to be honest, if that's the case, and that's Richard Boylan's take on that, then holy cow, that really says a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that I also want to kind of just throw out there as well is also the fact that all the way up until recently, whenever we see the Astra Militarum on screen, and when we're watching them with their weapons and such, a lot of jokes and memes get thrown around about how their weaponry is about as effective as shining a flashlight at someone. And basically, that's not the case. The las guns are actually very, very dangerous weapons in their own right, and the only thing that causes them to fall a little short comes from the fact that there are plenty of defenses and hardier enemies out in the known galaxy that can take multiple shots without really being affected too badly. That, and also the tabletop also kind of nerfs the effectiveness of a las rifle, but in lore, those things are extremely powerful. So just to give you a little bit of a perspective here, they weigh about 5 pounds to carry, so 2.3 kilograms. They're 900 millimeters in total length, so 35 inches from buttstock to barrel end, and they pump out about 19 megathoules of energy range. If you were to convert that into joules, essentially, because, things get weird in sci-fi, if we were to take 19 megajoules of energy, that's about 52.77777 infinite kilowatt hours of energy per pack that are interchangeable in the guns itself. So that's roughly days worth of power that you can power your own home, focused in multiple shots being directed at someone's face.
Damn.
And the range tends to be, its effective range tends to be about 90 to 120 meters out, but shots can be made with a standard las rifle up to 300 meters with difficulty, but it can be done.
Okay, that's a pretty good range.
Yeah, and that's a standard rifle that's handed out to the rank and file in the Astra Militarum.
Nice.
Yep. And depending on where you are in the galaxy, you'll get different patterns and different variations, but I mean, if that's standard gear, I'd rather have a las gun.
Yeah. I think the way you described it to me before when you said how they're effective but they're not to some is... I don't know if you equated it to Destiny initially, where in Destiny, if somebody has a fire shield, you shoot at them with fire, but if you shoot at them with, Void, it doesn't do as well. Where it's something like that with physical weapons versus the las weapons.
Yeah, I think I did say something to that effect, yeah.
So it still works, and it'll still hurt you, just not as effectively.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now,
it's not humans' fault that they're weak little things, and everything hurts them, and nothing else hurts anything else.
Well, let's also look at it from the perspective of the fact that in sci-fi, there are plenty of defenses to answer for a lot of destructive weapons.
That's true.
So, in the orcs' case, because of the fact that naturally they're hardier enemies, they will take more than a few las shots to pretty much put down. Combine that with the fact that they throw a lot of scrap in the way to dissipate the impact and the heat generated from the laser. I mean, it's kind of like the same idea that if you touch a heated pan that's been cooking something, you give it a quick tap and move your hand away because it's not, getting all that energy transferred from the contact. You're not going to burn yourself. Leave your hand on there long enough, all that heat's going to transfer and you're going to definitely burn. But there's that time that you have to wait for that. It's a similar idea because of the laser being the primary method of damage dealing.
Okay.
So, moving on from the las weapons that have been featured from the Imperial Guard here, let's also look at some of the weapons that the orcs use. To be honest, you don't really see too much of that being done, but you do see some Imperial Guard guys literally getting ripped apart by some of these weapons. I'm going to throw this out there right now. Those are conventional weapons that they're using. And as I've said, that they are basically scrap that's put together to basically work as a gun. it's a lot of basic bullet throwing type of damage dealing weapons. So one type that they got is called the Slugga pistol, the Shooter, which is their catch-all term for rifles, Big Shooters for heavy rifles, Burnas for flame weapons, Special Shooters for armor-piercing rounds and other weird, effect, Boomsticks for shotguns. I'm guessing you guys get the naming convention of the orcs in this case.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I was literally about to joke that their gun was called a slugger, referencing in Star Wars, that's what Mandalorians essentially made shotguns to fight the Jedi in the original back old war, because that'll do damage to him. So I was going to joke and be like, oh yeah, it's a slugger. And then you said slugga, and my brain stopped working.
Yeah. All right.
Well, at least they kept to the correct naming convention of a shotgun is a boomstick.
We see you have boom sticks. Bye-bye.
Oh, man. I will say this. The orcs do make it funny.
It's either that, or if you can get away with it, George, you put in the clip here. Ash going, this is my boomstick.
See, and I was thinking of Muppet Treasure Island.
For the blunderbuss scene?
No, at one point Long John pulls out a pistol and shoots at the natives, and they just go, oh, we see you have boom sticks. They look at each other, bye-bye, and then they all leave.
I do not remember that movie as well as I should.
No, I went with the more well-known Army of Darkness reference. Sorry.
I don't know this reference.
Of course you don't, because you're
every time you say something is a well-known reference, I always am like, I have no idea what this is.
That is because you are a sheltered child.
Okay, kids.
I'm not a sheltered child.
Let's focus.
You want to focus? I am the chaos.
Yeah,
I do not know
am
focus.
Chapter Master, and Chapter Master overrides calm.
Nope, there is no calm.
There will be calm. I will throw a rune amulet at you at this rate.
And I will summon my chaos beasts and their material brethren, your version of them, to wreak havoc upon your ship.
Just because one bit me on the ass once. All right.
I can't believe you told them that. That's so funny. Anywho.
Okay. So moving on, we have also the scene where these guys show up onto the battlefield itself, and they go by the name of Storm Boys. So the jump
the jetpack?
Yep, with the jetpack orcs, and they're called Storm Boys. And there's a weird quirk to them. Apparently, they're the most disciplined orcs among their rank and file, which is completely against the notion of what an orc is.
All right.
Well, I guess you kind of need to straighten up and fly right, I guess?
I guess?
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to the fact that they're more disciplined in the sense that they stick to a fighting style instead of just devolving into flailing their arms, uselessly. They're not prone to making bad decisions. They actually stick to what they know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably what that's alluding to. But it is kind of a weird quirk that they are disciplined among a species that does not take discipline as a hardy standard, and usually have to be bullied into doing something by their war bosses. Okay. And Gormaldus makes a mention after all of this. Now, we've already touched on Primus's growth here, so we can pretty much skip that. Touching moment, but not really much to glean. The moment here when Grimaldus was talking to his squad with regards to pockets of defenders throughout the wastes, what they were guarding is basically a treasure trove of munitions that have been stored away. And the biggest reason why a lot of those guns, ammunition, and explosives were stashed away from the battlefronts is pretty much under the idea that if the Imperium has to make a tactical retreat, they'll have some resupply points that they'll be able to scoop up on the re-invasion of Armageddon. Now,
that's clever.
It's a smart preemptive move, and to be honest, it's wise. Now, what Grimaldus was also telling them was the fact that because they had men stationed to guard these munition sites, basically the enemy is so thick on the cities and different populous areas and throughout all of Armageddon that guarding the wastes is a waste of time. So basically they said, we need men to defend our positions, so call them all back. And that's what is going to happen going forward. But there's one spot that was brought up that Grimaldus overheard from a group, I think the Desert Vultures, and they mentioned the name was, that there's a secret site that's being guarded, and it's home to a very powerful and destructive weapon. Grimaldus, he wants that weapon, so he'll be going after it, and that's the intent of what's going to happen. So does that mean he's going to leave the city defenseless? We'll have to see in the next part. So,
well, didn't they walk the big...
What, the Titan? Invigilata?
Yeah, the Titan. I wanted to say Terminator, but I knew that wasn't right. Yeah, didn't they walk her over to the city?
They did.
Where is she right now when the orcs invaded? I did
Well,
not see giant shots ricocheting through the orcs.
She was in a completely different part of the city. Okay, because the
Right, 'cause
battlefront
it's a big
where...
city.
Exactly. It's a very large hive city. And the part where Grimaldus's unit
Gross.
and his point of defense, I believe he was on the eastern side of Helsreach, where basically that's where he and his men were focused on. Invigilata, I believe, was on the north or south side of the city. I don't recall. And this is something that I'm probably going to kick myself later for not remembering. But she was in a completely different part of the city, sending bombardments elsewhere.
Hey, do you want to be mad at me?
Sure.
It took me 2 times hearing you say the vigilata to realize that's what you were saying and not enchilada.
It doesn't help that you also had Taco Bell for dinner.
I was lazy and I didn't want to cook. Actually, no, it would have taken too long to cook before we needed to record it. So.
Well. But yeah, Invigilata being the Titan and the subsequent mech units that are under her command, yep. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I think that just about covers this entire episode, and I think we're ready to go to the next one. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Hades' hive will not survive the first week. What is coming in system now far exceeds what has laid waste to the planet before. The other hives must be reinforced 1,000 times over. Hades will burn.
Here's a question. If orcs are dropping all over the planet, what's stopping them from just dropping right into the city?
When we look back a few episodes, there were ships that were coming down, and they kept on getting hit by the void shields that protect the city, and the guns that were aiming up, shooting up really, really high up into the air with flak cannons.
Okay. I like that answer better than what my brain came up with, which was they'll get a better fight if they don't. I don't like them.
I know. But
We
they're
are the
necessary.
Borg. Resistance is futile.
I have bullets and I will use them, Borg.
Syria Tyro, greetings.
How may I be of service, Reclusiarch?
We have defensive positions in the wastelands, manned by the Steel Legion.
Yes.
Yes. I was informed today exactly what is stored in the underground hangar of the D-16 West Outpost, 98 kilometers to the northwest of the city. None of our briefings mentioned it was a sealed Mechanicus facility. Do you know your history, Adjutant Tyro?
I have studied several of the decisive battles of the First War.
Then you will know what Mechanicus weapon was designed and first deployed here.
I don't think you can be right.
Perhaps not, but I intend to learn the truth for myself. One of our gunships will carry a small group to D-16 West in 1 hour.
But it's sealed.
It will not be sealed for long.
It's Mechanicus territory.
I do not care. If I am right in my suspicions, there is a weapon there. I want that weapon, Syria Tyro, and I will have it.
Are you going to say no to
You can't
me?
leave the city before dawn.
Well,
The
she-
The
enemy-
enemy will not break the city walls.
She's trying to be diplomatic because she can't say no to him. She also can't ignore the Mechanicus because they're their own population.
Yep.
I can't allow you to do this. It will enrage the Mechanicus.
I am not asking for your permission, Adjutant. I am asking if you wish to come with us.
I realize he's a Marine, but that sounded like the biggest flirt question ever.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
You want to break into a
such.
ball with me? And then she just kind of grins like, yeah, I do.
Okay, not gonna lie, I was gonna make the joke when she came over and said, "How can I?" When she was saying, "How can I be of service?" When Grimaldus looked at her, I was just gonna make the joke of, "So what are you doing Friday night?"
I mean, hey, she's a human with who
Working bits.
handles herself really well, so.
Does anyone ever laugh at your jokes?
Humans sometimes do.
Artarian's my favorite of them at
My
this point.
princeps.
Hello, Valiant.
My princeps, the adepts of the soul, are reporting discontent within Storm Herald's heart. We are getting anomalous readings of ill temper from the reactor core.
We are angry, Maserati. We yearn to bring the thunder down upon our foes.
That is understandable, my princeps. You are operating at peak capacity. You are sanguine?
Are you querying if I am at risk of
Being consumed by Storm Herald's heart.
Maintenance adept, attend to the princeps vocalizer unit. I trust you, my princeps. Forgive me for troubling you.
There is none. Your concern touches me, Valiant. We will see battle soon, Valiant. Grimaldus has promised it to us.
We are all ready, my princeps.
Andre?
What is it now, eh? I'm busy, okay?
Oh no, he sounds like
that
one
a
of my
gunship?
cousins.
What are you talking about, eh?
That. This is Damaska at Boundary 3. Contact. Imperial gunship inbound.
That is the Black Templars, yes? They are from Helsreach. I know this. I listen to my briefings. I do not sleep like you.
This can't be good.
I do not agree, you know? This is Astartes business. It will be good. Good for us, bad for the enemy. What? It will be good. You'll see, eh? I'm always right.
Oh my god, it's
You know-
like my cousin Raphael.
5 minutes
I
late.
can't
5
say
minutes
that
later,
he's gonna
shit
be
is
wrong.
on. 5 minutes later, shit is just on fire, and it's like, I was wrong.
Well, except he said, like,
Should
good
we,
for our side, bad for the enemy.
salute?
Good.
Is that what you're supposed to do?
I don't know, just stand at attention.
Are we supposed to salute? What are we supposed to do? I don't
Captain,
know.
I'm Adjutant Quintus Tyro, seconded to Hive Helsreach from the Lord General's command staff. With me are Reclusiarch Grimaldus and Master of the Forge Jurician of the Black Templars chapter.
Greetings.
We've come to enter the installation.
Forgive me. Is this a joke?
Far from it. There is no power here. They left this place entirely devoid of energy.
No, there is power. The installation sleeps but does not lie dead. It is locked in hibernation. Power still beats through its veins. The resonance is low, the pulse is slow. I hear it nevertheless.
Can you open these doors? Can you get us down into the complex?
It will necessitate a great deal of rerouting power from auxiliary sources, and those will be difficult to reach from a remote connection point here. A parasitic feed is required.
Jurician. Answer the question.
Forgive me, Reclusia. Yes, I will need 1 hour.
Digging for secrets in the sand, yes? That is not going to make the Mechanicus smile, I think.
Is that a rock? Or is that a moon?
No, that was the weapon. The weapon's actually just a big rock.
It's the Death Star.
Oh.
This is a magnetic field stabilizer housing.
What does it do?
It houses the stabilizers for a magnetic field generator.
The glare.
What does it do? What the name tells you who it is. Yep.
You do that sometimes and it annoys the daylights out of me.
I can't help it. When I talk tech, I talk tech.
Hello, Doc Ock.
Tech Marines. Underappreciated folk.
I was right. This is it.
It is so beautiful. It is magnificent. This would survive orbital bombardment. It is void shielded, armored like no bunker I have ever seen, and sealed with 1 billion or more individual codes.
Can you do it?
witnessed anything so complex and incredible. It would be like mapping every particle within a star.
Can you do it?
Yes, Reclusiarch, but it will take between 9 and 11 days.
I don't believe it. It can't be here.
It is. This is where the Mechanicus hid the Ordinatus Armageddon after the First War. This is the tomb of Oberon.
He only knew that because it was written on the wall.
Reclusiarch! Grimaldus, speak.
The old man's predictions were correct, as you suspected. The enemy is annihilating Hades Hive from orbit. It is crudely done. Standard bombardment with mass drivers to hurl asteroids at a defenseless city. A dark day's work, brother. Will you return soon?
We are on our way back now.
Oh, they're hurtling asteroids. That's... Honestly, that seems kind of un-orcish to me.
Oh no, it's as orcish as it gets. You're literally just tossing a giant bomb.
But it's not up close and personal, which is what I've imagined it to be.
So I was right. The weapon was a giant rock.
Yeah.
Yeah?
There goes Hades Hive. Sebastian Yarrick's hometown.
It was.
Tell them all, Yarrick. I believe in you. And actually, the orcs believe in you, so you can do it.
They do. That's the funniest thing. Yeah, they're shooting up and the plane's falling downwards. Someone using an afterburner.
I missed the thing. What did the thing say to her?
It wasn't so much what... Oh.
War never changes. I'm sorry, it was too perfect.
I know, that's why I'm not getting on your back about it. Oh.
Time to wake up, King of the Fairies.
Okay, now that was an episode.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Alright, thoughts?
I want to know what she was hallucinating. What was she seeing? Was it Oberon waking up and speaking to her?
I can tell you for a fact that is not the case, no.
Yeah.
What exactly is Oberon?
That's question number 2.
Okay. So, I think that's probably where I'm going to start, because it's one of those things where the name of it is basically what gives away what it is. So is basically
King of the Fairies?
No, not the name of the weapon itself. I mean the type of weapon it is, and the name of it is I believe, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Ordinatus Armageddon. So in other words, a doomsday weapon.
Oh.
It is basically a weapon of such destructive capacity that it is something that, under normal circumstances, would be sealed. Unless desperately needed. And Grimaldus is basically trying to crack open it just to have it on hand.
Doomsday is in Exterminatus?
It's a highly destructive weapon, yeah.
That's fun.
Yep. And, oh boy, the Mechanicus are not going to be happy with regards to it being unleashed without their knowledge or consent.
Well, that sucks to be you, I guess.
I mean, that would be the stance of anyone who, would be fighting an actual war. But there are definitely reasons as to why they would be hesitant to unleash it onto the field itself.
Guys, you don't understand. This literally kills everything. I'm gonna push the button. Don't push the button! I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, that's a way of looking at it. Any other comments?
I really like the camaraderie between him and the... Oh, I don't know her title.
Oh, the Adjutant Quintus.
Yeah.
Okay. You can just refer to her as Tyro.
Tyro? Okay.
Her name is
I like
Sirius
the camaraderie
Tyro.
between the two of them because he obviously actually respects her. And it's kind of fun. Well, okay, I say that as in he's a space marine. And she's a human. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna break into this installation. You wanna come with me?
Well, there's a major reason as to why that is. And that's actually something that I read in the Helsreach novel that does not get touched on in the video. But
if you share, will it be a spoiler?
It's not, actually.
Okay.
Share.
I can even go so far as to say that because of the nature of how widespread the War for Armageddon as a whole really is, the Adjutant Quintus was assigned to act as a liaison between all of the forces of Helsreach, which in this case would be the Legio Invigilata, aka the Giant Titans, the Astartes, in this case Grimaldus and his Black Templars, and any other Astartes unit that may be a part of it, and the Steel Legion. She's supposed to be the one that communicates all actions to the higher-ups, and the higher-ups would give orders through her to all of them. But because of the nature of the Astartes, they tend to supersede rank and authority if they choose to. And it's the same thing with the Mechanicus Legio Invigilata. They have the ability to supersede anything that she would order them from the higher-ups at that point, because they can operate freely as they see fit. And then what makes it even worse is the fact that she, up until that point, when she got invited to go to give a giant FU to the Mechanicus, up until that point, Grimaldus never spoke a single word to her. Not once. And she was wondering for the longest time why that was. And when she was talking with her major, the major was listening to her complain, and one of the things that she threw out, he gets along well with all the guys, he talks to all the guys, but he doesn't talk to me. Is it because I'm a woman? And the major immediately stops her and corrects her by saying, no, it's because you're useless. She immediately gets pissed and is about ready to harm the major. But the major explains, all the higher-ups are too far away to do anything. They don't care except for their own theaters of combat at this point. And even if they did care, no reinforcements will arrive in time to help. So anything that you communicate between us and the higher-ups is rather pointless at this point. And Grimaldus is just focused on what he has in his immediate vicinity. So up until this point, although you have rank, you don't have a purpose as things stand. Unless something changes. Mm-hmm. And that's how, she basically was told what the perspective was. But then all of a sudden, she gets a call from Grimaldus to come to the hangar bay and to talk to him at that point. And that's when she's like, of all the timing of this. And then she finds out about giving the insult to the Mechanicus. And the biggest reason why Grimaldus wanted her there was because as acting liaison with the higher-ups of the Imperial Guard, she's actually there to act as witness to justify his actions against the Mechanicus. That's really the only reason why she's there.
Nice.
And she's there to bear witness. She's there to act as an authority figure, because technically that's what she is. And
guys, I'm taking Mom with me, so it's legal.
That's one way of looking at it. So that's the meaning behind her involvement up until this point. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anything else comes to mind?
There was a bit in the beginning with the Titan. Is it failing? Is that what they were talking about?
They were noticing that there were some issues with the maintenance of the Titan itself, and what they were worried about is the Princeps' ability to actually control the machine spirit of the Titan. Because the thing about Invigilata's Titan and, the Princeps' control, it is a furious machine. It serves only one purpose, and that purpose is to angrily destroy and punish all things in front. And the Princeps, being connected to it, acts as the buffer to control all that unrelenting rage. But the Princeps, she's very much along in years. If I remember correctly, she's above 80 years old.
Mm.
So because of this, and because of the machine probably detecting her advanced age catching up with her, it's trying to loosen its bonds so that way it can just fly into a rage uncontrolled and unabated. And that's why the guys, when they were doing their maintenance logs, they noticed that there were some irregularities in the machine that basically reflects kind of like irregularities in her, in a way.
Okay.
So it's hinting that she may be dying in this process.
Okay. Although to her being elderly and the machine started taking advantage of that, clearly he don't know elderly women because, dang, they keep their tempers. Like the ones I've known, they're just like, they just deal with all the rage. They just sit there. Are you done yet? Okay. And then move on and continue doing something else. Just kind of like, no, I'm angry. Be angry with me. And they just ignore it.
Mm. Yeah. As someone who has a very advanced aged grandmother down in Brazil who is quick as a whip and quick with her insults too, if she even detects just the slightest jab her way, yeah, I can definitely agree to that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like, they'll still, like the ones I know, they'll still snap at you. If you give them a sass, they'll give you a sass back, but their temper is kept in check. They don't lose it. It's like they spent all of it in their younger years, and now they're just calm.
I think it's more along the lines of they just stopped caring as much.
I mean, maybe.
I mean, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alright, so that explains the Princeps situation. Anything else?
Oh, so was that the machine spirit yelling at her then?
Yeah, that was the machine spirit of the Titan itself raging out against her in the back of her mind, basically.
Okay. Mom! Let me!
Yeah.
Like an English animal on a leash.
It's kind of like that, but it's also going so far as to actually interfere with her voice modulator as well. So basically, she's trying to convey, to her, maintenance worker saying that I'm fine, I don't need this. But then all of a sudden, the voice kind of cracks out because that's the machine, really contending with her at that point. And that's raising some flags with the crew of the Titan.
Oh, okay. What I'm also hearing is that I should not be in charge of a Titan, like in the Princeps' place.
No.
No.
If there was ever a Titan on the yacht, on the thing. Yeah.
Yes, I know you censored it, but I'm gonna say it anyways.
Yes.
You know that got honked too, right?
If there's ever a Titan, none of us can drive it.
Yeah, I mean, just the amount of rage of the machine spirit in the Titan itself, it would completely cripple a lesser mind. And princeps are chosen specifically for their ability to meld with the machine spirits.
That aside, like, just in terms of temper, I know for a fact I have one that can come out. George, you do too as well. James, I've never actually heard you be angry.
I have. It's actually kind of scary.
Oh, I believe it. That's why I said none of us should pilot a Titan, but...
Yeah. When my rage comes, it's you better fucking run.
Oh, jeez, that sounds like one of my parents. Actually, it sounds like either of my parents. They get angry, and the children run for the hills. Because we know we messed up.
Well, see, here's the thing. I get mad. If I get mad, that's fine. If I get pissed, oh.
Run for the hills! Quick, children! You must survive! Tell our story!
It's the old adage of, did you start the fight or did you finish it? And if you started it, you're the jerk. If you finished it, you're the hero. All the same, it's how you use your rage. Well,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well,
I like how this went from dissecting Helsreach to now therapy.
Therapy. Well, I mean, between
I'll be sure to add meditation classes to the
we
docket.
got some angry blood going on.
Yeah. We make the best of the situation, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I think we're at a point where I think I can deep dive a little bit.
Yeah, dive in with the notes.
Okay. So the first thing that I kind of want to throw out there was Sebastian Yarrick's speech at the very beginning of this episode, talking about Hades' hive falling for a fact. So in the lore, it turns out that after the Second War of Armageddon, Hades' hive, despite being the place where the orcs were defeated and pushed out of Armageddon in general, and being the site of an imperial victory, the city was destroyed to a point where basically it may never ever get back to the level of glory and grandeur that it had before. And its strategic value dropped immensely as a result of that.
Okay, well, didn't they just drop a giant fucking space rock on it?
Well,
they... oh my gosh, they Armageddon.
Yeah, they kind of did. And to kind of answer that, James, it boils down to the fact that Ghazghul Thraka, the war boss of the orcs that directed and lead... and
no, that one... I'll go with him on that one, yeah.
Well, that's the guy's name, Ghazghul Thraka.
It sounds like you're clearing your throat.
It's orc. It's orc, okay? But, yeah, so Ghazghul, he organized all of the orcs that's invading Armageddon in the largest orc battle fleet that has ever fought against the Imperium for the Third Battle of Armageddon. And when he got to Armageddon, he remembered that Hades' hive was the site of defeat. So for him, it comes down to a point where it's like, no, I want that thing off of the map. And that's why he ended up having an asteroid organized to basically drop on top of Hades' hive in particular to wipe it completely off the map in response to the defeat that they suffered over 100 years ago.
Ah.
Okay.
And remember what I said about Sebastian's home place being Hades' hive and why he was so upset watching an asteroid drop on that? It's because at this point, with Sebastian Yarrick, it's become extremely personal for him to go up against Ghazghul for doing what he did to Armageddon. Now it became like... He always hated Ghazghul from the start. But now it became extremely personal that his home turf has basically been leveled completely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that explains the asteroid dropping, Hades' hive, and Sebastian's view on that. I spoke on Syria Tyro's position and what she's been up to up until that point, and also we've seen the episode. The Tech Marine, Jurizian. Yes. I like Jurizian. He is a Tech Marine that has been organized for the Black Templars. Now, to give a little bit of context as to what a Tech Marine is compared to normal Marines, is... What was that?
I said please.
Okay. So, when a bunch of Space Marines are being organized to fit certain roles within the chapter, whenever there's one that shows an aptitude for machines, he's singled out and removed from the chapter and sent directly to Mars to train under the Cult Mechanicus for 30 years.
That's a long time.
Gross.
But it's to teach them, everything that they need to know for their role on how to maintain the weapons that their chapter is going to be using, all of the tanks, Terminators, even the Dreadnoughts, how to repair them. They are the guys who keep the chapter's weapons going. And they're the guys that you want to be highly educated at that point.
I'm not going to have to do that, am I?
No, because you're not a Tech Marine. You're
Okay,
the Forge
good.
Master.
That's different.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you're more artisan than, well, you make things
Then
work.
made into the art?
Yeah, something like that. So what happens is they go for 30 years and serve under the Cult Mechanicus. They pledge loyalty to the Cult Mechanicus to a degree to not violate the rights that they've been given and the knowledge that they've been given. And then when they're sent back to their chapters, they're assigned the roles that they need to do. And there's usually a bunch of Tech Marines who are assigned to keep, the chapter going. But the one that is in charge of them all is often referred to as Master of the Forge.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, these guys are really, 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 knowledgeable of their stuff. Now, a lot of these Mechanicus-trained Tech Marines also get really, really invasive bionic implants as well. So if you notice on Jurizian's armor, if I can get to a picture of him, pretty sure I can. On his armor in particular, you'll notice that he has multiple inlets for his eyes, and he has 4 servo arms attached to his backpack. The eyes are more than likely directly connected to a machine that's supposed to help him think quicker.
Okay.
And he also has augmentations that directly connect to his body, so that way he can actually feel through the servo arms and do what he needs to do using those servo arms. So when you were describing him as Doc Ock, that was not far from the truth.
Accurate and creepy. Good to know.
Yeah. And because of the fact that he's also able to see a whole bunch of lines of code and everything like that, that means that he's able to directly commune with the machine spirits that he interacts with through his bionics. Now, Jurizian was basically tasked with cracking open the vault of Oberon, the Doomsday weapon itself, and he said, "You're asking me to map out all of the matter inside of a star." And the Reclusiar kept on asking, like, typical military function, "Can you do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, just give me a few days to really get into the nitty-gritty." So, highly capable battle engineers. Or another way of looking at it, CBs.
CBs? What's a CB?
Combat construction. It's what my dad did in the Navy.
Oh, real life thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At some point I will have to look up this real life thing for context, but okay. Question with him though.
Yeah.
What the CBs were is it's basically combat construction. It's battalions. It's basically they're battalions that go and build, do base repair, do build airstrips in combat
zones.
What's that?
In combat zones.
Yeah, in combat zones, they get bases ready, build airstrips, basically, build where you're going to be your forward bases and all. But besides that, I mean, they are fully trained soldiers as well. So my dad as my dad told me, yeah, the Navy taught him how to shoot a gun and hit something with a hammer.
Okay.
That's a good accurate description. Oh, and I forgot to make the distinction here. Jerusian, for the sake of the animation, it doesn't show this distinction, but most tech marines that are trained on Mars, their armor is usually painted the same rust red of the Cult Mechanicus, and only their iconography from their chapter is usually kept the same as the rest of the chapter. So if you ever see a unit of Astartes in the field and he's wearing rust red armor with those servo arms on his back, he's the battle technician.
Cool. Shoot him down to take down the rest of them.
Well, or at least make their guns less efficient over a long time. Yeah.
Here's a question though. If he's was trained by the Mechanicus, where it comes to something like this, with the Marines going kind of against the Mechanicus, where does he stand?
He stands with this chapter.
Okay, so even though he's kind of part Mechanicus, he'd go against the Mechanicus?
There's the distinction where it's like...
There's a distinction of you training with something, or you being trained by someone, and you being loyal to something. They're loyal to their... From the way it sounds like to me, is they're loyal to their chapter. They're not loyal to whoever trained them.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, they receive the training, they make use of the information, and along those lines, and they do pledge to not abuse the knowledge that they have. But if it's for the sake of the chapter, and if it's for the sake of the mission, they're going to do as they're asked to do, because that's who they're in service to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wondered if there was any difference, because he's been augmented by them, so if there's any other loyalty or anything, but...
It wouldn't be far-fetched to say that he would also have the ability to mess with his own augmentations, I think. So being controlled by someone else in the Mechanicus, not likely, I would assume.
Oh, I didn't mean it as a way of control, just more of a... They did this kind of to/for him, if that would give him any extra loyalty to them as well.
To be honest, if you're already quote-unquote a engineered near-perfect human in the image of the Primarchs and who are the sons of the Emperor, getting an augmentation like that would feel a little bit of a stab in the eye unless you're part of the Iron Hands. So...
Oh, would he already have the gene seed at that point when the Mechanicus took him?
Yeah, he would already be. He would already have gone through the rites.
Oh, dang.
Yep.
He approached them while they were blasting Lincoln Loyalists.
Okay. Okay, so we talked about Jerusian and his entire setup. So the Mechanicus, yeah, they do operate separately from the Imperium in many ways, and this boils down to the fact that when the Imperium got off the ground, let's say, it was due to the fact that the Emperor made a pact with the Cult Mechanicus on Mars that they were able to take off and start conquering the galaxy, and the precedent was set that the Cult Mechanicus rules jointly with the Imperium, but the two of them considered themselves unable to cross over into each other's jurisdictions. It's a mutual respect thing that they do. Let's see. Grimals wasn't asking permission. He was just going to do what he needed to do to get a witness from the higher ups. The moment where Andre, Demosca, and the rest of the Steel Legion that was out over at Oberon, they said that they didn't know what to do in order to greet Astartes and such, so they just said stay at attention. It's the basic thing to do. This comes down to the fact that it's very rare for the everyday person to ever meet an Astartes face-to-face.
Right.
And live to tell the tale.
Under most circumstances, they would typically be in the battlefield zone, and their survivability is less than 1%. Yeah. The Asteroid in Armageddon. Okay. Ordinatus Armageddon. Okay, I think that's pretty much the encapsulation of everything that we needed to cover for this episode. So, I think we're ready to dive into the last part, guys.
Yay!
Episode.
All right, episode 10 in 3, 2, 1. Three times a charm. Love that consistency.
When the wall is first breached, it dies in an avalanche of pulverized rockcrete.
I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't really know what I'm seeing, but nope, I don't like it.
Kill it with fire.
Yeah? You know...
Like, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with this shit?
You know... I thought they were creepy enough in TTS, but that's way worse. Is that man on fire?
Yeah.
Oh, it's an orc. I don't care.
Was on fire.
Is on
No,
fire.
it's still on fire, but now he's dead.
Hey, this is better than sitting on our asses in the desert, yes? Yes, it is. That's what I think.
Be quiet.
Love you, Cousin Raphael.
HQ, this is Dembski. Tank destroyed. Most likely part of the second group that passed you an hour ago.
Scout Team 3, proceed as instructed with all due caution.
Ready, Andre?
I have 3 dead packs left, okay? 3 more tanks must die. Then I get that caffeine the captain promised.
He's very chipper. I like him.
I can't tell if it's because he's partly insane or because he really just doesn't care.
Both.
Yes.
He lives in 40K. It's both.
Uh-oh.
What the...
That's bad news.
What was it?
What was that, an Orc Titan?
Yep.
Wait, really?
They can do that?
Uh-oh.
The crone of Invigilata requests your presence. I am in prayer. I know Reclusiarch. Did she request my presence, Arterian? No, Reclusiarch. She, demanded it. Inform Invigilata I will attend Princeps Zaha within the hour, once my ritual observations are complete. I do not believe she is in the mood to be kept waiting, Grimaldus. Nevertheless, waiting...
She seems pretty hot and heavy. Talking about ripping your armor off. It was getting very weird.
See, you say that, but I'm imagining she's angry. So... possibly.
You ask for the one thing I cannot give.
This might take me months, perhaps years. As the code evolves, it breeds sub-ciphers that, in turn, require dedicated cracking. It breeds like an ecology. Always changing, reacting to my intrusions by evolving into more complex systems.
I want that cannon, Jerisian. Bring it to me.
As you will.
So he's trying to hack it now, or?
Yep.
I think he's trying to hack it to begin with, because he doesn't have normal access to it.
You requested my presence?
No. I summoned you. You should be staying where you stand.
That would be an unwise solution. No one in this room is capable of wounding me.
There's a lot of Skitarii
I
in
see
there.
you do not show your face this time, Knight. You see me revealed, yet you hide behind the death mask of your Emperor.
Our Emperor. Let us tread carefully, you and I will answer the questions you have regarding D16 West.
Tell me why you have done this.
It is the Ordinatus Armageddon. It is one of the greatest weapons ever wielded by man. This is a war, Zaha. I need weapons to win it.
Necessity is not enough. You may not harness Oberon on a whim, Grimaldus.
The Master of the Forge will determine that for himself.
You do not understand. The sacred war platforms must be blessed by the Lord of the Centurial Ordinatus. Their machine spirit would be enraged without this appeasement. Oberon will never function. Do you not see?
The only reason the Mechanicus is not committing one of its greatest weapons to the war to save this world is because it remains unblessed.
Yes. The soul of the machine will rebel. If it even awakens, it will be wrathful.
It grieves me to ignore your wishes, Princeps, but I will not have Jurisian cease his ministrations.
Grimaldus, I am ordered by my superiors to see you dead before you continue this course of action. This can only end one way.
My Princeps,
Yes, Varian.
we're getting Auspex returns. 4 heat signatures inbound from directly above. The city's wall guns are not tracking them.
No, the city defenses wouldn't shoot down 4 of my Thunderhawks.
Grimaldus, no.
My Princeps, forget him. We demand orders at once.
If you try to raise the shields and prevent my attempt to leave, I will order my gunships to open fire on this bridge. Your void shields will never rise in time.
You would kill yourself?
I would. And you. And your Titan.
I said when last we met that you had kind eyes.
I remember.
It is true, but I regret it. I regret ever speaking a fair word to you, blasphemer.
Breath, the city will never be.
Oh dear.
Recipressa, you know what to do. Charge!
Sons of Dawn, Knights of the Emperor, charge!
Okay, not gonna lie, the first shot just sounded like a little bump, and the orc just went, ooh.
It may have sounded like a little thump, but if an orc went down after one hit,
Artarian suffers
it's a hell
more
of a
than the
hit.
rest of us.
Fair.
He sacrifices one hand to hold my banner aloft. The standard draws the enemy to him. They want our banner. They always do.
Oh, let's see this monstrosity.
I got a grenade.
I have heard it said that the greenskins raise their titans as idols to their strange piggish gods. That would explain why they're so hideous.
Sheridan?
No, that's Vexeldan.
Engine kill? You owe me for that, Grimaldus.
that in one hit?
Yep. That's how strong a Titan truly is.
Wow, that thing went down like a bitch.
Well, it was almost a fraction of the size of the other Titan.
True.
Fair.
Okay. That was episode 10. What do you guys think?
That was a good
awesome.
one.
Although, I do have to say something that I didn't want to say it during the episode to ruin it.
Yeah,
Can we go to a picture of the Orc Titan? Near the end, when Grimalda's looking up at it.
Oh, when it was actually Primus.
Well, Grimalda's is there, but... back. Who had it? There we go. Does it have a cannon penis?
It's supposed to be its belly button, but it does look a little
Okay,
low.
that's better. Because I'm like, I don't want to say it and ruin the episode, but...
Oh, with like the 14 jokes that I made during it, really?
Yeah.
Also, okay, so with Oberon, they're not waking it up because it needs to be blessed?
Yeah. So
Explain.
Okay, so on just hearing someone say that it needs to be blessed by a certain higher up in the Mechanicus in order for it to function properly, this goes back to appeasing the machine spirits in a lot of this old technology, where a lot of the technology itself will not work unless you do certain rituals and whatnot to make it work as you intend it to do. If for any reason some of these practices are not observed or followed, the machine spirit itself can basically just turn itself off and just not function at full capacity, which under normal circumstances for, let's say, a doomsday weapon, you don't want any part of it not working properly.
So my idea of going in there, if it's sentient, going in there yelling, "Wake up, bitch, we're gonna kill orcs," probably wouldn't work as well.
No. Depending on the machine itself, it probably just would be enraged at being roused from its slumber in the first place.
You know what? For a place that hates AI and supposedly kills a lot of it, or really hates and afraid of AI, they made a lot of AI.
Well, I mean...
a lot.
Well, and I know someone in the comments is going to be screaming they're not abominable intelligences, but we're looking at it from...
Are you sure? Because they're thinking for themselves.
Well, that's because there's some
If
warp
it can have an
shenanigans
opinion
involved.
about being upset from its slumber, then it's an AI.
Well, it's also warp shenanigans tied into it as well.
The warp shouldn't be affecting it, though. It doesn't feed it.
Technology has gone so far advanced at some point that it bred itself
To be in
a
the
level
warp,
of
you
sentience.
must feel and have a soul. To be in the warp, you must feel and have a soul. You're saying the machine spirits are affected by warp stuff, so they feel. Which is the opposite of how everything else interacts with the warp.
I feel like this is a dive into the Men of Iron storyline.
This makes no sense to me. Somebody in the comments, please explain it to me like you're talking to a 3-year-old. Or, no, what is it, second grade? Second grade, because I am so confused.
Yes, please, tech priests, we need your counsel.
Like, it seems like it's just backwards, and I don't understand.
Because it is, in a way. But...
That's dumb as shit! No!
It's just how the technology works at this point, with so few people actually knowing how this technology works and how it's supposed to work.
Fuck that, I like my magic.
Well, that does kind of answer that part. So, yeah, unless it's blessed under proper protocol, yeah, 9 times out of 10, machines will not work as intended. It's kind of like when an Astartes scratches off the chapter iconography off of his armor and basically paints himself a whole different armor. Machine spirits within his armor would basically be insulted and just not run.
Does that mean if you'd want to ruin a bunch of Marines in the middle of the night, you'd scratch off their things?
Well, it just wouldn't work if the user did it. If someone else did it, they're going to be pissed and they want retribution.
You get all of them drunk. And then you do it.
No.
You convince them to do it. I mean, you could.
No.
Yeah.
That means
the Fenris?
That means you would have to go to the Space Wolves and buy up their Astartes pattern alcohol.
Buy.
Good point. There's not enough to go around. Okay. Any other points of interest?
Nothing comes to... I don't like that creepy baby thing in the beginning.
Oh yeah, fuck that.
No, I don't like that. That's creepy as shit.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I'm assuming you guys would want to know what the hell and why.
I have an idea. Because of TTS, they have those creepy screaming baby things that Magnus keeps destroying because they're creepy as shit. And I assume it's the same thing.
So, about 2,000 years after the Emperor was interred upon the Golden Throne, and when the ecclesiarchy...
Golden Porta Potty.
Man, it's going to be so much fun censoring you, and I say that sarcastically. Anyway, what happened was the ecclesiarchy, as a way to honor the Emperor, they constructed these homunculus, where basically it would be cherubs, one for every year that the Emperor was seated upon the Golden Throne. So 2,000 of them were made.
Gross.
Well, that's all they were originally used for. They were originally used just for that ceremonial purpose, and that's it. But then what happened was the ecclesiarchy and Mechanicus started pumping more of these things out as people started using them for, a lack of a better term, decoration. For some of the temples and use as familiars for certain roles. And in certain temples, if you went to like a planet that is high up and everything, and if the temple complex is large enough, you would see a bunch of these things flying around in the rafters of the cathedral.
Gross.
Now, these are not living human beings, so I will throw that up there. They're vat-grown homunculus that are bioengineered to look like children, but they're not human children. They're just...
Well, that's a relief, because I wouldn't put it past this universe to do that. But it's still really creepy to me because it's an abomination of a child.
Well, this kind of does harken back to old Catholicism art that would depict cherubs as the sign of purity. But when taken to an excessive point where you literally have homunculus like these flying around as a manifestation of purity, quote unquote, to show off just how pure your cathedral and whatnot is for decorative purposes, it's a sick and twisted joke, really.
Yeah, I don't like that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And to be honest, some Inquisitors would even go so far as to have a couple of them to hold and carry their weapons for them, or use them as a way of spying onto other people. So if you remember servo skulls, they would use cherubs because it fits their aesthetics better.
Yeah, no. I mean, it leads into, if you're going to talk about old Catholic art, for a long time, and it's still kind of common today, because infants are very hard to draw. So if you look at even some old masters, the babies don't look like babies.
Yeah, a lot of them look like miniature adults. But
they look like gross old men.
Yeah. Actually, I've heard the main reason why that was due to the fact that they wanted to have as examples to children, so that way they felt the weight of responsibility as adults do from an early age. But as the aesthetics started changing going forward, where the notion of children being symbols of purity before adulthood ruins them kind of a thing, that's how that evolution came to be.
I hadn't heard that, but I believe it. It's still funny to mock the pictures of babies that look like gross old men.
Yeah.
Wait. I just realized something. If they're using like Inquisitors are using cherubs to show their innocence, I'm just imagining a Michelangelo type guy showing up, like painting the gate of the warp behind the Inquisitor's chair.
I really don't like the visual.
He did not like that guy.
No, I really don't.
And there are people on the ceiling who are giving the bird. Sorry, now I'm thinking about the hall Michelangelo painted. It's funny. Like, it's beautiful, but it's funny. They're, like, flipping him off. They're being rude. They also said no nudity, so of course Michelangelo just put a bunch of nudity up there.
Well, anyway, anything else in this episode kind of struck you on?
No, I say I think we're ready for the deep dive.
Okay, then if we're ready for the deep dive, then I'm going to go ahead and I kind of explained what the cherub is, so I don't really need to go into that, thankfully. I've already said all the relevant points. An interesting note of what Andre was saying, that basically if they use up all of their charges and 3 more tanks basically get blown up from the orcs' lines, that he would pretty much get caffeine that he was promised.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how rare certain resources are in the vast Imperium itself, caffeine in its pure form that we know today all but doesn't exist. Only stuff that can be chemically produced to give a similar effect still exists en masse, and even then it's at limited quantity. So if you would think like a really, really caffeinated tea, that's really what their idea would be for caffeine. And then there's also a joke floating around about recaf, but we'll get up to that when we get up to that point. But of course, in military circles, if you do X amount of things on a mission, you basically get rewarded with something small, but it's a comfort of home while you're out on deployment. I mean, it's typical with any soldier's unit or circle.
You guys, kill these orcs and I'll give you some tea. Cool! We get tea! Actually, to me, the notion of caffeinated tea sounds very strange, because all of my tea is very, calming.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, why would you drink tea to be caffeinated? But people do that.
Yeah.
I drink tea because I gave up coffee. So.
Yeah, I kind of had to give up coffee. I cut back on a lot of salt. There's a lot I gave up in the last year.
But hey, you're alive.
Somehow, yeah. Okay.
Warp magic.
Yeah, the strength of the soul. Okay, the point where Jurizian was talking to Grimaldus saying that he needs more time, he's basically coming up against multiple firewalls, and a lot of the programming that he's trying to crack open is mutating in front of him, where basically it seems as though that it would take him close to months or years to completely crack all the defenses that are on Oberon.
Oh, dang.
So it's coming to look like that it's a longer and longer of a shot to get this Doomsday weapon operational.
Hitch, wake up. We need you to kill orcs.
Nope. Even then, you still need to get through all the stuff in between.
How about we just set it on fire?
The bunker itself is designed to be able to take planetary bombardment. The meteor that fell on top of Hades' Hive would not even scratch it.
What if they asked really, really nicely?
I like how there's my way, which is, bitch, do this. And then James, what if we say please?
See, this is why he's the Forge Master. He's the nice guy. He knows how to speak the language of the tech and the gear.
And then there's me. No, this is dumb. I'm going back to my magic.
Meanwhile, in her book room. Anyway.
Book room? Book room? It's called a library.
You heard what I said.
I am ashamed of you.
Weren't you? You saw my iconography and you immediately felt shame. Don't even go there.
No, I was okay before you used the word book room instead of library. That was sad.
The fact that it really got under your skin makes it all the more hilarious for me.
It's a library! No! It is a wonderful vault of vast knowledge and information. Dare you?
How dare you?
I dare.
How dare you, good sir? How dare?
I dare, for I care. Okay. Moving on. So going back to the machine that Andre and whatnot, Andre and Demaska saw. That was very much obviously a giant tank operated by the orcs, or in this case a Gargant. And what they were pretty much doing was destroying the smaller ones, hence why you saw that one flaming orc that they shot up with their las guns after he crawled out. And that's what they were mainly dealing with, but then they saw this giant one that was moving on its way to Helsreach. Now, to give you an idea, Gargants come in multiple sizes, but the size that we see in this case would be classified as a Great Gargant, where basically they would also have basically a lot of gun platforms, usually bipedal, and they're extremely hard to deal with. Then you have the smaller ones called Stompas, or Super Stompas, and then the Great Gargants, and then the Mega Gargants, which is the largest type, which would be equivalent in size and destructive potential as the Titan.
Okay, so is the one that she shot, is that the...
I would say it's a Great Gargant. It's not a Mega Gargant.
Okay, I was wondering if it was the smaller one, and not even the medium one.
Medium to large, I would say.
Okay.
So, yeah, these things are a real pain of a siege engine to pretty much deal with. And that's why you would definitely want Titans on your side as an answer to that, because the orcs can build these things, which came to a big surprise to all of us when we saw it on screen, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, because all they do is just like, hey, they've got that. I bet we can do that. Let's just put this stuff together. Oh my gosh, we got one.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense. I just hadn't thought of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of like, oh, well, that's a thing. Oh, okay, we're in trouble now.
Right. Okay, and then going on to the very important scene where Grimaldus was talking directly to the Princeps herself. This scene, awesome as hell. None of us can say contrary to that, correct?
True.
Okay. What if I told you that there was missing dialogue from this that basically shows the depth of the argument between the two?
I believe
it.
Okay.
Because I've never known a media, like from a book to a movie or show, that doesn't leave stuff out. It's usually by pure necessity, because, regrettably, they can't do that.
Yeah.
I wish they could. If they could, that'd be awesome. Oh my gosh, I'd go back in times and have Lord of the Rings remade exactly like the books. With the same cast, because they did a wonderful job.
Right.
But
you
in all its glory, like, it would probably be like a week-long movie, but I would love every second of it.
Of course you would.
And I'd still watch it every 6 months.
Well, as someone who's read this part of Helsreach, I can say for a fact that if the same could be done for the actual cinematic version, I would eat that up too. But I have to give Richard Boylan a huge level of credit that he was able to dice this up while still remaining very much faithful to the source material. He did a good job. Now, he did move like a couple lines earlier and whatnot that does come off as a little weird when I heard it. But for the situation, it fit and it worked. But the part that I thought was definitely worth highlighting was how I said that the Mechanicus operate separately from the Imperium a lot of the time. Well, when Grimaldus heard the mention of the death mask of your Emperor, Grimaldus took that as a very, very insulting moment where he says, "our emperor" in return. And then he goes on to basically, well, I'll read. I actually have it right here. "You stand on difficult ground, Zarha. I am a chaplain of the Adeptus Astartes, sworn into my position with the grace of the Ecclesiarchy of Terra. In my presence, you have just expressed the notion that the Emperor of Mankind is not your god, as he is for the entire glorious Imperium. While I am not blind to the separatist elements within the Mechanicus, the fact remains that you're speaking heresy before a reclusiarch of the Emperor's chosen. You are speaking heresy, and I am charged with the responsibility of ending any heresy I encounter on the internal crusade. So let us both tread carefully, you and I. You will not insult me with false accusations of blasphemy, and I will answer your questions as you have regarding D16 West." I see. Oh, hold on. It gets better. "This is not a request. Agree, or I will execute you for the heresy you and your crew can even soil themselves in... Oh, no, hold on. I misread it. Shit. Okay.
How dare you? Rewind.
"Agree, or I will execute you for the heresy before your crew can even soil themselves in fear."
Oh, that's a great line.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great line.
Hold on, it gets better. "I see her swallow, and despite herself, a smile creeps and shows her amusement. It is entertaining to be spoken to in this manner," she says, almost thoughtful. "I can imagine that your perceptions offer a much grander view than mine." I meet her optic augments with my own gaze, but the time for misunderstandings is over.
Oh, she likes it.
She likes him because he basically is calling her out on her bullshit. And that's something that she did not expect. She thought that her authority would carry everything. But deep down, her comment saying that she regrets ever speaking a fair word to the Grimaldus in that situation for her tech heresy, for his tech heresy, I should say, yeah, that still stands. She's still extremely miffed at him for that.
But he's got massive balls and is kind of like, oh, this is entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Helsreach Part 11.5. They fuck.
You would think with all the tension between the two.
She doesn't really have much of a body anymore, though.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
With all those tech priests, I'm sure they could figure something out.
I mean, if you wanted to fuck the Titan, but... Gross.
How many chaplains can say that they fucked a Titan?
We don't need that kind of Slaneshi garbage in here. No, back up. Let's leave.
Okay, fair enough. But to be honest, it's the interactions between Zarha and Grimaldus that I just have a very, very strong appreciation for in this story. And this moment where basically the two of them are just calling each other out for their bullshit, and even he's threatening her, saying, "I will have my men open fire in this cockpit and eliminate all of us if I do not leave safely." I mean, come on. It's the badassery
that was really
of both
fantastic.
that's just awesome.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. And then at the very end, where basically they see the Gargant that comes up, and they're like gawking at it, saying like, "Well, no wonder it looks so ugly." All of a sudden, the Titan comes to their rescue, and you just hear on the
You
loud...
owe me, Grimaldus.
You owe me, Grimaldus. But before then, she screams out, "Engine kill," because that's what they say when they kill a construct or any bit of armor. It's that badassery and cadence that she carries, where basically she's like, "I'm not one to be messed with either. You owe me for this, Grimaldus."
I was wondering if it was all her, if the Aimgree spirit is coming out.
It was all her in that moment. She's still maintaining control, so it's really just the voices in the back of her mind kind of like poking and prodding when she's trying to rest.
Voices in the back of your mind are always a fun thing to deal with.
Yeah, in her case it's even worse because it's not even her own. But in this case, basically, she is carrying the Titan as though it is the extension of her very own body. Now, there is also the fact that the pilots up front also do manage the weapon systems, so they can fire independently of her if need be.
Okay.
Yeah, so Titans are weird, but it's really a matter of just holding back the machine from going completely out of control.
So we got this dog, and we pissed it off, and it's rabid. Now you're gonna hold it. I'm sorry, what? No, you're gonna hold it.
The only thing that's between you and this monstrous engine of destruction is basically a line of leather. A leash, if you will.
Is the patience of this one woman. Grimaldus, you're pushing it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think that pretty much answers everything we needed to know of the lore dive here.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Alright guys, we made it through Helsreach 8, 9, and 10. Honestly, it just got a whole lot better.
Oh yeah.
Much excitement.
Yep, I really can't wait for
And there was
one.
much rejoicing.
Yay! Alright. Well, we'll be revisiting more of Richard Boylan's wonderful adaptation of Helsreach in the future, so wonderful viewers, thank you so much for sticking it out with us through this episode, and we hopefully will see you in the next one. Thank you guys for checking out our video, and a big thank you to our patrons over on Patreon: Lex Biernat, TPMJZ, Adrian, Miguel Batacan, Ben, Storm Knight, Polarni Torino, Honeyblade, Miertoviec, Mr. Breakfast, Alphadron, Megos Loki, Ghost172, and Finbar. You guys have really, really helped us along, and so have all of you wonderful viewers. Again, thank you so much.